I think it's one of those fun facts that if you're going to have one of those beautiful headsets, you need to think about it when you're dressed in the morning. You have to have a pocket or something, otherwise it doesn't fit. That's why I'm stuck with this microphone today. So really nice having you here. And I'm not the host at all, but this is this is our office. This is where we spend our time. So really happy to have you here. I think especially in these kind of days where we are thinking about how many times are we in the near future going to gather people or not. So really great to have you all here. My name is Joke, a strange name if you're a Swedish-speaking person, but I had a Dutch father and I got stuck with that name. The fun thing is that is never misspelled. Usually my last name is misspelled, so I spell it like that. And that name was given to me by my husband, so it's his fault. I have a background as a teacher, so I'm a teacher of languages, and I started out by thinking about, when I started teaching, how can you use this, which was then the new tool in really making sure that all kids get a good experience when they come to school. And I think that's what always drives me. So how can we support the learning experience using ICT? I'm not going to talk a lot about that today, but right now my head is definitely spinning with all the issues that we're having currently on how do we shift from a classroom experience, which is the most common way of teaching right now, to an online experience, because I think that's the reality that a lot of the municipalities in Sweden and definitely in the Western world are thinking about right now. So if you're, for instance, one of the municipalities in Sweden and you have a lot of kids that are going to leave gymnasieskolan, the upper secondary school, this spring, they need to have a certain amount of lessons in order to get their grades. If all the schools in Sweden shut down, how do we do that? So a lot of those things. And if you're interested in discussing that, please come up to me during the break or something. I'll be happy to talk about that. But what I'm going to talk about is really the cultural transformation that we're having in Microsoft right now. We've been having it for a few years. We are really in the middle of it, and we're constantly discussing it. And I think that's the topic of the talk today. So please interrupt me at any time if you want to comment or reflect or ask a question. I'll be happy to repeat the question so we get it on the recording as well. So in Microsoft, we say that we want to move from a know-it-all kind of culture to a learn-it-all kind of culture. So not being able to say that we know everything and we have the right answer, but how can we continue to learn and how can we develop as we do that? And why is this so important? Well, I think it is really because we, like everyone else, we are in the middle of this. And my pictures are going to mix a bit between Swedish and English because I do this talk mostly in Swedish, but this is in English. So basically, you all know this, the fourth industrial revolution. We're in the middle of it. And why is this important? We've had 3 before. Why is this one different? And I think the truth here is that this one is different because we feel that there is this convergence between everything that we have. So it's not just a technical thing. It's not that we're introducing a computer. We've done that. We've had computers for a long time. But it's the merge between physical, digital, biological almost. And I know Daniel is going to talk to you later about artificial intelligence and how we can use all the amounts of data that we have in our society. But this really drives a new way of thinking and a new way of working and a new way of working with our customers. And within Microsoft, it has really been driven. It's not all been driven, but it started in a very big way with the guy in the middle here, so Satya Nadella, who became the CEO in 2014. And a lot of time has passed since then. If you're interested in the phone history, you can see that one of the things that was very evident then was that we still had the Windows phone and the Nokia phones, bright colors there, taking pictures. But he is, of course, Satya Nadella, really a product of Microsoft. He's worked for a long time within Microsoft, so he really carries the tradition of Microsoft. But at the same time, he views things in a totally different way, and that has meant a lot for how we work today. And as a result, we also have a new mission. And you can see it if you walk around here, it's on the walls, and this is something that we really think a lot about and really talk a lot about. And I definitely talk a lot about it when I talk to both schools and universities, because you can choose what words you want to stress. And I think from where I stand, both as a manager and as responsible for education, I tend to stress the every word, and I think especially the every word when it comes to every person. So we really want every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And if you take that into a teaching context, it's definitely making sure that all the kids in the classroom have the possibility to succeed. So no matter how you learn, no matter how your day has been, you should have the tools that you need. So if you are a slow reader, it's definitely so that you should have the ability to have all the texts read up to you, or you could have support in spelling or stuff like that. So the learning tools that we talk a lot about when we talk with schools is definitely a result of this. So we try and build on this mission, and together with that, and when you meet someone from Microsoft, there's always a Satya picture. This is the second one for me. But this is really that we're trying to make a shift from being the company that was sometimes regarded as a bit arrogant, as the one who had all the dominance and who has had all the right answers, to someone who really tries to make others successful. And I think that is true in how we go to the market. It's also true in how we work internally. And another thing that has really made a difference from us is the notion around growth mindset. This is a book by a lady called Carol Dweck. Has anyone read it? Growth Mindset? Yeah, great. It has meant a lot for teaching, absolutely, but also for how organizations view their staff and how you learn. So basically, where are you? Are you someone who doesn't want to change, who doesn't like to change? I know that I am definitely that kind of person in some areas, and in some areas I really like change. So, for instance, I eat the same breakfast every day, 7 days a week, and I have no notion of changing that because I like the kind of breakfast I have, and I don't see the point of it. But probably if I had some sort of, if I wanted to lose weight more than I do today, someone would challenge me about that. I would probably reconsider that. So if I have the thing that I eat the same breakfast every day and I'm happy with that, that is called a fixed mindset. But if I'm trying to or willing to challenge that, I could then have a growth mindset. So when you have a growth mindset, you can challenge each other, and you can also think about how can you see this issue from a different kind of angle. And this is something that we worked a lot with, and it really is where we want to drive everything we work, both with our customers, so we are truly customer obsessed, I would say right now. We also try and make sure that we have all the ingredients we have in our workforce to be able to succeed. So we try to be very diverse and inclusive and really have principles for that. I'll come back to that later on. And the ones who drive this is not the managers, it's not Satya Nadella. I think he puts the emphasis on it, but the ones who drive the cultural change is really the people who work here. So it's not that we say that we have to go in a certain direction, but it's getting the people that work here to formulate that and being the ones who make the change. So we're going from being, what we usually say in English, being the hero, being the one who knows it all, to being the one who is trying to build on what others have made. So not trying to say, I did this, I was fantastic, I had a really great success with that, but I am having a challenge, but I know that Ulrika has made something similar with another customer. What can I learn from Ulrika, and how can I take that in order to be successful with where I work? We have gone from, I would say, being scared of failure, so not wanting to challenge or not wanting to try failure, to really trying to be brave and having the discussion around that it's okay to fail. I say to the people in my group, it's great to make mistakes. Please make them only once and try and learn from them. I think that's always a good thing. But that is something we need to work with, and we foster with, and we try and share also the bad experiences we've had in order to learn. So a failure is not something that should be sad or ashamed over, but be regarded as a learning experience. So also the notion of knowing best or being the expert is something else we try to leave behind, and rather more, how can we spend more time both with our customers but also here internally around listening and learning and trying to draw from others. I really hope that our partners and customers feel that we are going from being very, very focused internally to putting the customer and the partner in the front line. I think that is still a journey. I think that a lot of customers still sometimes regard us as being too internal, but that is definitely where we're heading. I would also like to put a lot of emphasis here on, the role of the manager. So the manager is definitely the one who leads the team, absolutely. But to be a manager within Microsoft is really about having the success of the team. So as a manager, I am not here to be successful myself, but I'm here to make sure that the people that work in my team are the ones who have a great career and who succeed and who are heard. So I am not right now closest to the customers, so I can't formulate the way the customers, I can't really say exactly what are the customer wishes and what are their notions of success. My team members know that much, much better. So they should be the ones who formulate the idea and they come up with the idea. And really have a true discussion about that. So the force then, or the power, is really with the person who works here. And here we have a picture of some of them have left my team, but they're still here at Microsoft. And this is when we were having, I don't like that word, but I'll use it anyway, a hack. So we were having 400 kids within the town hall of Stockholm starting how to learn how to code, and it was called a kid hack. I think that sounds terrible because it sounds like you're hacking kids, which was not what we're doing. We're trying to get them to have a hackathon. And the theme here was superheroes, and that's why they're dressed like this. I would love to have my team members dressed like this every day because I think capes makes you look great. So more capes. But we have organized ourselves after our customers. So we're not thinking about how we should be successful, but rather how our customers should be successful. So really putting the customers in the center. We have also, which I think is really, really inspiring right now, talk a lot about our technical skills. So we need to have deep technical skills in some areas to really understand the challenges of the customers. So we're spending right now about, 15, depends on how you look at it, but we're spending quite a lot of time on really increasing our technical skills. And that's why if you're connected to people within Microsoft, you see that they're posting that they have taken all these certifications. We are spending time on doing that to make sure that we have the right kind of technical skills. And this goes also in the kind of roles that people here have. So We have increased the vertical knowledge and increased that kind of role. So if you are within education, for instance, you could be really tailored in using some sort of products, but really targeted at a certain either higher education or it's teachers or something like that. So really trying to make that more specific. And we also put a lot of, I would say we put a lot of pressure on our employees in formulating their own individual competence development plans. So it's not up to me to tell my team member what they should be thinking about developing and what they should investing in, but it's up to the team member to formulate that on their own, because they know where they want to develop and they know what skills they are lacking. And we also encourage everyone here to talk about how Microsoft is transforming and why this is important, and hopefully then to inspire other customers to do the same. Questions, reflections? No? Good? It's crystal clear or very confusing? I'm not sure. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to move this. So we evaluate our team members on how they are transforming. And this is a chart we have where we talk about the fixed and the growth mindset. But basically, when I sit down with my team members once every month, individually, and we have a discussion around what is going well, what is lacking, what do they need from me, what do they need from another team member. But we start that discussion not with the individual. I mean, we talk about all these three circles, but we really talk about, first of all, of course, what they have done. But I always start with, okay, so what have you done that contributes to someone else's success? Because it's important that they also feel that they should be contributing to someone else in order for us to be very, very successful and reach beyond ourselves. That is important. Equally important is what have you learned from someone else and taken that on to another level. So I can talk to my team member and say, okay, so what have you been doing this past week around distance learning, for instance, because that's what's spinning in my head right now. And they will then share, well, I've been up in Sundsvall and I've talked to this kind of person and they were thinking about using Minecraft in order to reach the kids that are currently at home. Okay, that sounds like a discussion I'm having with another customer. How can I use the experience that this team member has had to build on that and then take that to another customer? And when we evaluate our members at the end of the year, it is important for them and for us to make sure that they have touched on all these three circles in order to really have a good year. So someone who is just working on their own individual development and just trying to reach their own targets will not be as successful in our eyes as the one who's building the great team. Make sense? For me, when I started here, I came from the public sector, and my idea of a one-to-one with my manager was having a cup of coffee with my manager once a year. That was the kind of utvecklingssamtal that I had, that I was used to. So going from that to sitting down, but 45 minutes an hour every month is a big change. We invest a lot of time in trying to develop each other. And that is because we feel that that is really where the force is and where we can make a change. And I would say also that once you get used to that, you really see the benefit of it as well. I have a very good understanding of where my team members are at and what their ambitions are and how they want to develop. Hopefully they also understand how I can support them in this. If I would meet them once a year in this kind of discussion, I would not have a clue. And when I think about, for instance, how a lot of headmasters that work in school that have 50 people that report to them and they never see them in the classroom, how they can evaluate their teachers, it's really a very difficult situation, I think. So I think that have this sort of very frequent touch-ins is a way of really making sure that you know you're on the same path. One of our core values really is diversity and inclusion, making sure that everyone is included and is seen and is feel that they're listened to. And as a result for this, we have developed something that we called 10 behaviors for inclusion. I would not say that we can touch on all of these every day, but we try and do it as often as we can. And I think just having this kind of schedule in front of you before you start a team meeting or before you start planning, for instance, something like a fair or a day like this is truly, truly helpful. When you have a large meeting and some 2 or 3 people are there on Teams, how do you know that they're really, truly feel included? If everyone is in the Teams meeting and everyone has the camera on, then we're all on the same kind of level. But if 5 people are in the room and they say, okay, let's kick this meeting off, and they're not introducing themselves or they're not saying who is in the room and there's no camera, and if I am then joining from remotely, how do I know who is in the room? So I think there are a lot of tricks just making sure people are included in a Teams meeting, for instance. I think when you're leading a meeting, for instance, you can make sure that everyone really is heard, not just the ones who wave and scream out and really want to make a comment, but really truly making sure that you take turns around the table and stuff like that. So these behaviors, for me at least, has meant a lot as a reminder on making sure that everyone is included. I think it's very, very easy for us to make the assumption that we're all on the same page, that we all have reached the same agreement. But when I say something, it's not necessarily so that we interpret it in exactly the same way. So making sure that we ask questions and that we give everybody a voice and that we build groups that are truly diverse is something that is, first of all, the right thing to do, but also pictures the way our customers usually look. So if we have a group of people that are about all the same age, perhaps the same ethnicity, and with the same kind of training, and we try and reach out to customers who look very, very differently, we will miss a lot of opportunities. And I think that is what drives the way that we talk about inclusion. It's the right thing to do, but it's also very effective if you want to reach further with your customers. So these last 5 minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit about the office move or the transformation around that. So here is a short history of Microsoft. I'll take it very, very briefly. But we've gone from then having, in Sweden at least, a big computer in one room to having computers everywhere, and now also the cloud. So basically, we could work wherever we want, which is a great thing, of course, and especially in the days that we're having currently having. But it also puts a lot of demands on where we are, I think. This is our old office then, which we left a few months ago in Akalla, where we had free seating, and we had a lot of people come and looked at our office, and we discussed what we call the new world of work, the nya arbetslivet. You can work is not really the office, it's whatever you do. And It was a big success. We inspired a lot of others that have taken this. You can work in the kitchen or on the way home or wherever you feel comfortable in doing that. We saw fantastic positive effects. If I have kids that I want to pick up from daycare, I can leave early. I can work from my cottage if I want to. I'm a happier person if I don't have to spend a lot of time commuting. And both we and our customers have been very happy with that. We've also seen a lot of negative effects, to be honest. People are constantly talking, like everyone is getting 2 phones because they want to switch off their job phone and just have their private phone on. A lot of people feel that they're not seen if they're not at the office. We have a lot of Swedes that are feeling lonely and feel that they're neglected. And this is sort of the downside of having a very free work environment. And I think as a result of this, and having discussed this at length, I think we want to make sure that there is a need for an office as well. So we do need to meet. Technology needs to support us. We need to make sure that we see our team members. But there is a definitely need of an office to meet. So, for instance, we've had people saying that I don't have a meeting here, but I want to come in because I know there's fika today and I can get the chance to meet my team members. So I think we need to acknowledge that the office has other kinds of needs like that. And I think Ulrika mentioned we have switched from talking about office to talking about an hub. So where you are right now and where I hope you will use it today is that it is not just a place to work, but it's perhaps a place to exchange ideas, to develop, to make new connections, and to continue to learn, I think. So we continue to learn together. We learn together with you as customers or partners, and we learn together as we meet. I know that my time is up. But I'm here for questions nonetheless.